Today's council meeting, December 10th. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll
Mr.
second.
Lawrence, is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Gaines, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion? All in favor of the agenda as presented? That's a 6-0 vote for the clerk, and also if the clerk would note that Mr. Glavin is not present. Thank you. That brings us to the mayor's report. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome to the public. John, good to see you. Bob, good to see you. And that almost concludes my report, but I do want to report on, we received the draft audit of last Friday. Diana's in the review of it right now. And when I think ABL will present it, I think maybe schedule it the following meeting or maybe the following meeting in January. But it came Friday afternoon last week. And I believe that concludes my report. No, it doesn't conclude my report. We have a number, we got the Wool Market Parade this coming Saturday, 2 o'clock. And a number of things on the schedule. Holiday, we had a pretty good week last week with parades and dances and all those other things, downtown Biloxi. And I believe that concludes my report.
That's an excellent report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. We have no departmental reports. Council reports. Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah, we had a children's parade. We had a heck of a crowd, and they filled up the town green. And like you said, the Kelly dance stuff, they did an awesome job entertaining everybody. Santa Claus took care of all the kids, so that thing turned out pretty nice. Some of the lights didn't come on. Did they fix them?
I'm not sure.
A couple of balls hanging didn't lit up. They didn't light up, so I was just wondering.
Sherry? You check it.
Okay. And then the Christmas on the water, I think they had 50-something boats. That's the most boats they had in a while, so that was a good thing. And then you had downtown Biloxi. I think they did quite well Saturday for the Christmas downtown. So, that was, like you said, it's a great weekend. And I prepared this summary on the audit, and I passed it out to everybody. Now, all this come out from some of the audit reports we had, so it's information that we need to know about. Like I said, if you're getting ready to give us some more, that's what I'm trying to stay update with this. So that's what this is all about, and all this come from the audit books that we had. So these numbers are true numbers from the books, the audit books that we use. So anyway,
I scanned this information, and there's some questions that should be addressed to the place. Now I know they've done some extraordinary things, and I'm looking at Rachel right now. Over the last 3 years, and it's not an ordinary kind of request. I think she reviewed 1,100 contracts that were provided as part of the audit. That's time consuming, and that's a question. 1,100 a year, and she's done that 3 years in a row. So, in addition to the Gadsby constraints, there's some things that we're going to question. Why is that amount of detail required each year? But it's a pretty solid, review of not only contracts but the whole management and best practices. So those two questions could be addressed to Kim and the ABL that will present the audit when I think Diana has confirmation that there's nothing that she has a dispute with or anything like that. So that she's in the review this week.
Yeah.
That concludes my report.
Yeah. Anyway, I put this together, and you already did your report.
Yeah.
So I ain't finished.
Again, I conclude my report again. I meant to say it the first time.
But I appreciate what you're saying, but I did this for all the councilmen, so they have this, and these are the records they need. I would like to make sure we put this in the residents in the meeting, so anytime we have to come back to this, these numbers are all true numbers from the books that we had. Not like you said, 23 was put in last December, so that's when you said we should be getting ready for that one, correct?
Should be getting ready for as soon as we do the trial balance, we'll be ready to go into the 24's audit.
Yeah, but you have to finish 23, because these are yearly reports, so you have to have.
Well, 23 will be, revising the beginning balances and then the revenues and expenses related to the beginning balances, 23, and then for the ending, which becomes the beginning of 24.
But I knew, and I did this for everybody so they could have their own records. It's all true information. So I just want to make sure everybody had a copy of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Mr. Guines?
Yes, I want to first start off about this weekend. Sunday, we will not be having a Christmas parade, but we will be having a big Christmas toy giveaway in Ward 2, which is going to be at the community center, the civic center.
Gruich Center, right?
Is it going to be at the Gruich?
I think Gruich.
Gruich Center.
Gruich, yeah.
Okay. Gruich Center, 2 p.m. 2 p.m. and Santa Claus will be there. Got to make sure Santa Claus is going to be there. The second thing is the IP Casino. The mayor and I met with Swartz, the CEO of IP Casino. And yeah, Mayor, you can tell him about he's going to put it out for bid for 45 days, and that's getting ready to start moving.
Right, the timing of a number of, excuse me if I jump in, I think the timing of when construction will begin, it will be based on some of the, I think, two important conventions, the House Convention as well as probably a truck. So it's going to try to not disrupt most of the business as far as when the landscaping and parking lot improvements will take place. I think May? No, I know it was. We talked about the Thunderbird show. So we're using that parking lot to park, the visitor parking for the Thunderbirds air show. So that was important too. I think that's going to dictate when the actual construction will begin.
Right. But at this point, it's going to be he's putting it out for bid,
right? So
we can have true numbers, and then once we get the schedule of the Thunderbirds, whether they come in April or November, he'll make the decision when they get ready to crank it up and straighten that out. Okay, and last but not least, I have not last. I got one more thing. I went to one of my Disability Connect meetings, and they have these beautiful license plate here, and I left them at the door, Disability Connect, and what they do is they connect all resources across the coast with kids and children with disabilities. And I've been on that board for about 8 years now, and they do a lot for our disability community. Here I gave every one of the council members a resource guidebook. They always come to the council members asking about resources going this way and that way, and each one of us wanted to make sure everybody had a book so that they would know the resources all along the coast if we were asked about anything, because we're often asked. Yes, and this all comes through the O'Keefe Foundation and Disability Connect. And I just want to acknowledge someone out there in the audience, Ms. Kiva Scott from the Boys and Girls Club. I would like you to come up and just say hello to us. And she keeps things, yes, she always keeps something going and keep our children safe in the community.
Good afternoon, everybody. And as Felix said, Kiva Scott with Boys and Girls Club, CEO of Boys and Girls Club of the Gulf Coast. And by way of update, you guys know that we have plans of moving into the building that is just behind Nichols Elementary. We've been having conversations with the mayor and then also Mr. Creel. Right now, we are getting another appraisal done on that property so that we can begin the work. We have a wonderful situation that we're in where we have the funding. We just need to make sure that we can use that funding for that building. And so we appreciate the council, also the mayor and the city, Peter, Mr. Abide, and everyone else that has helped us get into this space. You all know we serve over 600 young people.
Okay, want to introduce your director? Oh, all right, Maurice. Okay, thank you, Ms. Keeper.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Guines. Ms. Newman?
Yes, Jerry.
This one may be dead.
Jerry, do we have an update on the methadone clinic, what they're doing? Are they staying on top of things?
I have a code enforcement officer going by there every day just to make sure that they are maintaining the dumpster the way that they're supposed to. since last week. They are, and we're continuing to work with the property owner who owns the vacant land behind there, and we'll stay on top of him until those few trash piles get picked up.
So there is a difference though, right?
Yes, it is.
Very good, very good. Do we have any updates on the Broadwater property and the police substation?
No substation.
Any good news?
Yes, we're all through the area still, and there's a decrease of people there right now. We'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens.
Okay.
As far as the police substation, we're not real sure where we need to put that right now, and the mayor and I are talking about that.
Yeah, the trailer was what we were gonna kind of rehab and set it up as a workstation and maybe another office space for the third party. But I think since that land has been sold, the Boulevard property has been sold, we don't have a real spot right next to where the Cavalier Park was gonna be, is where we were gonna locate it. But that property's been sold from the school district to, I think, Elliott Homes. So we're searching for the best place to locate that substation.
Gotcha. And you said that you're having the police go through there quite often, right? Are you doing it at night as well, right?
We're doing it pretty much all the time.
Okay.
At nights when you're going to catch more people in there, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. McGilvery.
Just one item to a reminder, Ward 4 meeting Sunkiss Thursday night at 5:30. Just a reminder. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. McGilvery. Mr. Glavin. Mr. Shoemaker.
Just a couple of things. Christmas parade is this Saturday, 2 o'clock. It's not too late to register, so I know the mayor's going to be there, and hopefully the weather's going to be decent. I know there's a 30% chance of rain, I think, but hopefully it'll be good. The weather will be good, so please come out, and it should be a good time. Santa Claus will be there as well for the kids at the Old Wool Market Elementary in the gym right after the parade. Roundabout, the rain's holding them up, I guess. They're still working, I suppose. Don't see a lot going on there, but hopefully between the holidays and the weather, they'll get that done sooner than later. Last I heard was sometime in spring, and I don't know if anybody's heard any different, but it's definitely welcome them to finish in that. And lastly, homeless, I know that's a topic we discuss every week, and in Ward 7, we don't really have homeless really much to speak of, but I've gotten several calls in the last couple weeks regarding the rest of the city. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know really if any of us know what the solution is, but it is something, I guess, at some point, I don't know, we as a city or a county or as leaders or something are all going to have to come together at some point and try to figure something out. If it's along just the city or along the coast, the police department I know is inundated with calls, and it kind of seems like it all falls back on them for now. Their hands are somewhat tied to, that's not the solution, but for now, that's, I guess, what we're doing. But at some point, I think just as leaders of the community, we're going to have to figure something out, because I think the longer it's put off, the worse it's going to get. And it's obviously gotten worse over the last several months. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker, and I have no report. That brings us to
Hey,
citizens.
Paul?
Yes, Mr.
David, are
Law.
we riding in Corvettes again?
I'm sorry?
Are we riding in Corvettes?
Yeah, well, I just found something out about the Corvettes today, but I'm working on it, yes.
That club, that's what we always
Yes.
rode around on.
You riding? Are you riding?
Huh?
Are you going to ride?
Yeah?
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, come on, Dad, make everybody happy.
good.
I wanted a red Corvette. And the blonde-haired girl that drove last, I'll take her too.
I'll see what I can do for you.
Moving right along to citizens' comments, we'll allot up to 45 minutes for citizens' comments, 3 minutes per speaker. If you wish to speak, I'll recognize you. Just come up to the table, sign in your name and your address, state your name clearly so the clerk can record it accurately. And then she'll hit the timer, and when your 3 minutes is up, you'll hear the magic sound. There it is, okay. That being said, is there anybody on my left, your right, that wishes to address council? Mr. Gemmell, good afternoon.
Mayor, council, citizens of Biloxi. Hello, my name is Ed Gimmel, and I'm a candidate for Biloxi City Council, Ward 1. I want to take a minute and introduce myself and let you know what I'm going to work on. I was born and raised in Ward 1, right here on Water Street. In fact, I grew up just a few yards away from the Biloxi Hospital, right there on the beach. I love living on this peninsula. For me, there's nothing like living on the water. And on top of that, we live in a city with more than 300 years of rich heritage and colorful history. We live in a community that must strike a balance between small town charm and the impact of a 24/7 economic and the many issues that come with that economy. My campaign is about making Ward 1 and Biloxi great again. People ask me, what does that mean and how are you going to do that? Well, for me, someone who knows a thing or two about city government and getting things done, I think it's all about getting back to the basics. It's about being responsive to the public when they call with their request. It's about keeping our streets and neighborhoods clean and maintained. When the grass is high, you cut it. When the street light is burned out, you repair it. When you start a project, you want to have a timeline and stick to it. And when you finish that project, you don't just walk away. It's about maintenance then. And in Ward 1 and so many other areas of our city, but especially in Ward 1, we have large swaths of vacant land. Typically, homeowners would keep the grass cut and cut the grass on the sidewalks. With all the vacant land, it is important that the city maintain the sidewalks and make sure that we are not only a livable community, but also an inviting tourist destination. Ward 1 generates more revenue than any other part of the city. Ward 1 stretches from Point Cadet to west of Keesler. It's the oldest part of our city and is the one that should get the most attention. I know how to get things done. I've done it before, and I can do it again. To me, when we handle those basics, when we do the things that the citizens expect and deserve, when we are responsive, we are setting the table for success. We will see growth in the number of residents, new businesses, and visitors. Most importantly, though, we will be serving the needs of our citizens. That's the heart of my campaign. You take care of those basics and you're laying a foundation, a solid foundation for a great community. That's what will make Ward 1 and Biloxi great again. I'm asking for your vote and support in the Republican primary April 1st. We vote at the Lopez Quave Public Safety Center. Over the next several weeks, I will be visiting with residents and business owners throughout Ward 1. I look forward to the conversations, and I look forward to earning your vote. Together, we can make Ward 1 and Biloxi great again. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Gamble. Is there anybody else on my left, your right, that wishes to speak? Anybody on my right, your left? Anybody else in the room wish to speak or address the council? All right, there being none, that concludes citizens' comments, and we'll move into the policy agenda. The first item is a first reading. It's a procedural matter. If the clerk would read item 4A, please.
Ordinance amending salary and compensation of mayor and council members.
I'll entertain a motion. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
Second by Mr. Lawrence. Again, this is a first reading. Thank you. We'll move to the next item. If the clerk would read item 4B.
Resolution to grant final subdivision plat for Baycrest subdivision located at the southwest corner of Brazier Road and Wetzel Drive.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
By Mr. Glavin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second by Mr. Shoemaker. Okay. Comments, Mr. Glavin?
This has been in the works for quite some time. I think they've been moving through some drainage issues and so forth. Jerry, you want to give any additional updates on this?
The property is owned RS 7.5. All of the 11 lots that he's creating meet that or exceed it. The infrastructure is already there because the infrastructure is in along Wetzel Drive. The only thing that they're going to have to add is one fire hydrant, and they've agreed to do that. They have worked around the drainage. They're buildable area will be outside of the wetland drainage area that runs through the middle of the property. One lot will face Brazier Road and the rest of them face Wetzel. It's a reasonable request. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to add, this particular area, Wetzel Drive, had about 3 or 4 homes on it several years ago, actually about 10 years ago. The road was in poor shape. We were able to get some funding to pave this road, and it immediately spurred a lot of growth in that area. Jerry, we probably, with the addition of the peninsula, we probably got 40 homes that are in there, and then this is on the other side of the road that's a little more undeveloped, and it's starting to take shape, and I think this will be real good for this area.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Glavin. Mr. Shoemaker, anything? I have nothing. Any questions or comments from the council? There being none, we'll call for the question. All in favor of the resolution as presented? That's a 7-0 vote for the clerk. Thank you. That brings us to item 4C. If the clerk would read that item, please.
Resolution to deny a request for a zoning map amendment from RM30 high-density multifamily residential to limited business for 245 McDonald Avenue.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Mr. Lawrence,
And I'm second.
a second by Mr. Guines. Mr. Lawrence.
They have a resolution from the planning commission to deny it, and I think they hit this one right on the money because there's been no change in the character of this neighborhood for the last 30 years probably. Nothing has changed. So to make a change is just not the right thing to do. So we've denied on no change in the character of the neighborhood.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Mr. Guines, any comments? Or
I actually support George.
Okay. Are there any other discussions? Questions? Mr. Creel's available? Okay.
This is an existing apartment complex. They're on McDonald Avenue, and they own buildings on both sides of the road. They own 7 buildings on the west side of McDonald and 2 buildings on the other. They have a total of 120 units in the, it's an apartment complex, but they had converted to condos several years ago. The reason they're asking for the zoning change to go from RM30 to LB is simply to be able to use some of the units for short-term rental. We only have 16 short-term rentals that are available within the current RM30 zoning. So they would only be able to change 16 of those under their current zoning. Well, they wanted to change 30% of the units, which would be 36. So the only reason they were asking for the zoning change was to get out from under the RM30 zoning and get over into LB, where there would be no limit on the number of units that they could convert. The other part of it too that we made them aware of at the Planning Commission is that, the council, Planning Commission, the council, there were 2 reasons that we had frowned on converting an existing apartment complex over into short-term rentals is because, number one, you're taking all of those units off of our permanent inventory of housing where people actually live. And the other part is that some of the developers were basically designing it as an apartment complex with the intent of using it for short-term rental. But because of that, they were able to skirt around the requirements for installing MC cable and the other things that would be required for a hotel-type development. So the vote was split on this in the sense there were 6 people that voted for it and 7 people that voted against it at the Planning Commission level. But the challenge would be they would have to gut the apartments that they were going to convert over. And as Mr. Lawrence said, all of the properties that surround this property are zoned RM30, and there's been nothing in that neighborhood that justifies changing the zoning. I mean, nothing about the character of the neighborhood that's changed.
All right. Any other questions, concerns? There being none, we'll call for the question. All in favor of the resolution as presented, that is to deny the request for a zoning map amendment, just raise your hand. All right, that's approved on a 7-0 vote for the clerk. Thank you. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda
So moved.
by Mr. Lawrence. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Glavin. All right, Mr. Lawrence, you're up.
Yeah, I wonder, I see my buddy's on this knee case brothers on here twice. Once again, change orders. He's not working down here, so what did he change it? He got a F, the P and Q, excuse me. So why should we change anything for him since he's not doing a job? He hadn't paid Howard Avenue. There's no reason not to have that done. The big streets crawl for that. He left them uncovered, not working on anything.
Yes, Councilman, your questions was related to 5O or P. What was the letter again, sir?
P and Q, yeah, they have O2.
Okay, 5P was related to it was really a correction. There was a previous resolution for this same change order had made note that the waterline crossing was to go across CSX Railroad. It was actually a change order to go across Highway 90. So this is correct the resolution on 5P.
All right.
5Q, and this is in the BEA project area. None of these are related to St. Michael's, Councilman. 5Q is the 24-inch HDPE horizontal directional drill that we did under Highway 90 adjacent to Treasure Bay, so we connect the water from the north and south side of Highway 90 to make sure we had a loop of water in that area. So that change order, again, it's related to the BEA projects and not St. Michael's. And that was work that we needed to get done.
You said P, he's already done P?
Well, P was a resolution that was previously drafted, and it had just minor verbiage that was wrong. It mentioned about the water line crossing at CSX. It was actually crossing Highway 90, so this is a resolution to correct the previous resolution.
So is there any particular reason he's not working down on Howard Avenue? I mean, we said we were gonna do that 6 months ago, pave Howard Avenue. We still haven't did that down there. So what is the time frame? Are we gonna have to do it, or is he gonna finish the job himself?
Well, on that, last week, they made one sewer repair related to on Howard Avenue, and this morning they started on a second sewer repair on Howard Avenue. And the administration has asked the contractor to provide dates, to put dates on a map that we have showing all the sewer repairs and drainage repairs that are required. And we sent that to the contractor and told him that the mayor wanted, and we need it to be marked up and sent back to us so we know when the contractor believes he will complete those repairs.
It's about a dozen of those repairs.
There's at least a dozen sewer and then numerous drainage ones that we've got to confirm if the work was done or if additional work needs to be completed.
Does all the sewers on Howard Avenue have to be worked on, all of them?
Not all of them, but there's several of them on Howard and Holly and a couple other streets.
When he put them in, it didn't put them in right? What's the problem? That was all done at the beginning, so what did he do wrong?
The contractor asked, when you put in your sewer main, you got to make your service connections out of the sewer main to go to a business or a residence. Typically, you put a fitting on there, and it allows you to come up with your sewer service, and then you angle it out towards whatever business. Now, we're talking deep sewer main, and you're trying to put your sewer service connection into it. The contractor requested to use another means and method to make that connection and use a different connection. It appears when his staff or his crews made those connections, he pushed the sewer service connection in too deep, and it caused the gasket to slough off into the sewer main where you can see it in the videos. And we cannot tell by the videos if the sewer services are leaking or will have future leaks. So we told them they got to go back and make those corrections. That's why it's very important to get videos from contractors in a timely fashion.
Is any, are we finding him per day, or is he still on time?
Liquidated damage is coming up, so that's what he's got to address. These things are, as Walt mentioned, these are videoed to see that where the problems were. There was a number of those things that were shown not to be problems, but where they will push down through the pipe, the water can come out from the outside into the sewer, and they were caught by video, and there will be another video that will determine whether it was fixed the right way or not. But where it was a 30-inch main, that they put a guy in the pipe and pulled him through to make sure it was sealed properly.
Yes, sir. There's a couple ways to approach it. One would mean to open it up and do it, cut the road open and get down to it
And that's what
fix
we're
it.
trying to avoid.
And that's what the contractor elected to avoid on his own choosing. He decided to do a method where you put a man inside the pipe and you pull him along at the bottom of the pipe, and he tries to seal it from the inside. If it seals it, fine, but we need videos to show that it's properly sealed and not leaking. But it is it's a process. It's an intense and slow process.
Your job, should he redo them, or do you think sealing's gonna work, or you gonna have more problem down the road?
That's what we're trying to avoid, is more problems
Yeah.
down the road. We could rock and roll and cover it up and put stuff, but when there's more infiltration from being punched through into the sewer system, that's a problem. We've been trying to avoid that.
All right, you just gotta stay on top of him, that's all there is to it.
We stay under it, we don't need to stay on top.
All right, that's it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lawrence. Mr. Guines, anything?
None.
Ms. Newman, anything? Mr. McGilvery?
None.
Mr. Glavin?
I have none.
None. Mr. Shoemaker? And I don't have any. So we'll vote on the consent agenda, and then I'll come back to ask if any of you have any exceptions to any of these items. All in favor of the consent agenda as presented? It's approved on a 7-0 vote. Any exceptions, Mr. Lawrence?
No, those two don't really mean anything. The P and Q, so,
All right, so
no exception.
None.
no to P and no to Q for Mr. Lawrence. Okay. Mr. Guines, anything? All right, Ms. Newman? Mr. McGilvery?
I have none.
Mr. Glavin?
No to Q.
Beg your pardon?
No to Q.
No to Q. Okay. Mr. Shoemaker?
I have no exceptions, but Mr. Lawrence, just to confirm on yours, you said you said exceptions to P and Q.
Say again?
You said exceptions to P and Q?
Yeah, I said I didn't like the Q, but the P don't really mean anything. That's it's just written. I didn't say I'd be against P. I just said they just changed the writing to make it correct, right? On P.
Right.
Right.
So you're good with item P?
Right.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you had voted no on Q. Mr. Glavin voted no on Q.
I have no exceptions.
All right, and I have no exceptions. Okay, those exceptions are noted. Clerk, get all that? Yes, ma'am, thank you. That brings us to number 6, code enforcement hearings. Mr. Creel.
Yes, sir. Item A, Alan J. McClure, 386 Clay Street. That case has been resolved. Item B, Catherine M. Alexander et al., 434 Heidenham Avenue. That case has been resolved.
Outstanding.
2 for
Mr.
2.
Creel, he is 2 for 2, batting 1,000 today. That brings us to the routine agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
By Mr. Lawrence and a second by Mr. Guines.
Bring the checkbook, Walt.
He's already in motion.
Bring the checkbook up here.
Well, I'm smiling, so it's good news and great timing by MEMA to get the money to us. This morning, the city received $789,000 in reimbursements from MEMA. Our next round of funding is just shy of $411,000. That's already in step 4 or 5. That's the one I mentioned, quite often up here. That's been in there 5 days, and so we should have that by our next meeting on the 17th. And that should be followed by another $308,000.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, anything else? All right, we'll call for the question. All in favor of the routine agenda as presented? It's approved on a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Before we adjourn, just our last council meeting in the month of December is next Tuesday, December 17th at 1:30. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Lawrence, second by
Guines,
Mr. Guines. Thank you.
Gines.
That's right, capital Gines. All in favor of adjourning? All right, it's a 7-0 vote. Thank you. Everybody have a nice weekend.
Have a great week.
Recognition.